All right, we are now live. So, guys, welcome back to another episode of Kherk Roldan is your show. This is the show for SEO, e-commerce, and digital marketing. Kherk Roldan Show was launched to deliver high-quality insights, best advice, and tips from the top SEO expert to the community. So, in today's episode, we have Chris Walker. Thank you so much, Chris, for having time for this interview. I appreciate it. All the viewers appreciate it. It is a pleasure and honor to be speaking with you. Before we start with our interview, and for those who doesn't know Chris yet, so Chris is an internet entrepreneur based in Myrtle Beach and the CEO and founder of multiple figure online businesses. And he's also the founder of legit.com, an online digital services freelancing platform, and Superstar SEO. So I know a lot of people ask you already, but I'm curious, Chris. Can you tell us about what you do?
Hey, well, first of all, thank you for having me on. We've been trying to work this out for a couple of weeks, so I'm glad we're finally able to do it. Yeah, I mean, I guess a little backstory. I started doing like affiliate marketing in 2013 and did okay with it, but then got kind of smacked down and then started doing a little bit of client and did pretty well with that. And then on a whim, I listed some services on a marketplace a different marketplace and started doing very, very well with that. And from there, I kind of like grew, the Superstar SEO group. And then when that marketplace started having some trouble, I decided to kind of have my own site, and did pretty well. And then people that from the other marketplace that were doing very well wanted to sell on my site. So I met a developer around that time. So we decided to go ahead and create our own, which is Legit, which is kind of my main thing now, which is what we're very proud of. We've had a lot of success stories and it keeps growing. So that's kind of the quick overview of my history.
All right, so great. So, by the way, how you started your SEO and internet marketing journey?
So I was working at a job doing IT support for like a real estate developer.
Okay.
And I had a lot of debt. So I started looking into ways to like pay off the debt and make some extra money. And I stumbled across affiliate marketing. So I started learning that from a couple different courses, and I did okay with that. And from there, one thing led to the next. So that's kind of how I got started. I never thought it would take the path that it has taken, but yeah, that was kind of the beginning. And then I don't know, it's been very rewarding and very good to me. So
Yeah, what a great experience. So I saw Legit is an awesome digital freelancing platform, Chris. And honestly, can you tell us more about Legit, your goal for creating it, and what's the difference it to Fiverr?
um so when, like I said, I was doing freelance marketplace stuff myself.
Yes.
And it gave me the opportunity to create entire brands around it, Facebook groups and training and software and more clients and things like that. And when the opportunity came along, I wanted to give other people that chance because they weren't being served well by platforms like Fiverr and this other one that I'm not even going to name and so on. And so we created that with the goal of giving people, well, two goals: giving customers a chance to get the services that they truly need and not just what the site decided they needed, and give freelancers a chance to build an entire business. The other sites tend to limit what they're allowed to do, what they're allowed to say, what they can offer. I mean, we have to do some of that too, but we want to give them a chance to build a whole business and not just throw up a service and wait for traffic, which is why you ask how we're different than Fiverr. Well, first of all, we're a completely different model. I mean, the only thing we have in common is that it's a marketplace. The difference is that our customers are worth more than $5. Like it says right in their name that's all they care about. Their customers is $5. And that our freelancers are not just people that can do a little service for you. They're full stack marketers, talented SEOs, digital marketers, email, social media, graphics, whatever. And we want people that are going to make this build an entire business around it, not people that just want to make, although those people are welcome too, but our focus is going to be around the people that want to make a full-time living, or the people that want to outsource their whole business to us and get so they can grow beyond that. So that's kind of like without the specifics, that's kind of like the main goal. And then we eventually want to get it to where if you sign up, you basically have your whole business there for you: page builder, traffic, everything you need. And it'd be free for the most part. So
Wow. Wow, what a good experience. So I'm really curious about how legit works. So after they register to the platform, is it required to top up for credits or what?
as it's required, I'm sorry, I didn't.
After they register, so are they required to top up for credits or for
Oh no, you can do that if you want to, and for whatever reason, a lot of people like to pay that way, but you don't have to. You can pay
okay.
directly through PayPal, and then for most services, you can pay with credit card as well.
All right. So guys, if you are looking for any digital marketing services like SEO, graphics, content creation, or looking for a job, I highly recommend Legit Guy. So guys, if you have any questions, drop it in the comment section as I'm reading everything. And I know you have a lot of questions to Chris. So, Chris, in your last YouTube video earlier, you posted 3 ways you can make money with SEO, right? So,
Mhm.
for those viewers who didn't watch it yet, can you please share briefly how they can earn with SEO?
Sure. Well, in that particular video, I said client SEO and then selling services on Legit and then buying pre-existing sites. To be perfectly honest, that last one, I wanted to have three things. So I just had to come up with a third thing. But I mean, although it's perfectly valid,
Yes.
the other two, client SEO, for a long time, that was how I paid myself. And that's probably the best way to make a good amount of money quickly because, you're only a phone call away from
Yes.
having, a nice $2,500, $5,000, whatever it is you charge per month client. So that's the fastest way to grow a nice income from it. It's not my favorite. I don't do nearly as much of it as I used to because, well, a lot of reasons, but and then selling services is probably where what I think is the best because there's little barrier to entry. You just have to know how to do a couple things. You have the traffic and the platform and the support all built in for you. And then as I've shown, you can grow that into much, much more. And I know other people that have as well.
Yes. So, Chris, aside from Legit, what is your process of getting clients, by the way?
Well, now, to be honest, I don't try to get clients anymore because it's not a big part of my business. And the ones I have, not to sound whatever, but they tend to come to me. But in the past, what I had good success I had with content marketing. So
All right.
a lot of the reason I make videos and blog posts and social media and all that stuff, partly because I do genuinely enjoy it, but also because it just brings people into you. And then you can use paid advertising on some of that as well to expand your reach on it. So those worked really well for me. I also had a lot of success, and I haven't done it in a while, so I don't know if it's still successful. But back then, I had a lot of success with cold emailing as well. So
Calling me. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Sounds awesome. So, since you have consulting and SEO agency business, and I just want to ask any tips on how to build it successfully?
Yeah, I mean, you need to have an identity. And what I mean by that is that there are a million, billion people now having what they call agencies. Most of them are really just freelancers, but which there's nothing wrong with, but they just think of themselves as an agency. You need to have something that makes you unique. So whether it's the niche that you're in or the approach to clients or whatever it is, there's a lot of different options, but you have to find a way to not just be generic marketing agency number 1 million. So that's that. And then the other one is to learn how to sell. People that get into SEO have no clue how to sell most of the time.
Yeah.
If they start talking to a prospect, they'll start talking about how I noticed that your website was page 2 and I can get it to page 1 and it will rank. Like, I mean, you've probably gotten that pitch yourself. I get it all the time. And like, nobody knows how to actually talk to someone, find out what's wrong, what they need, and then solve it for them, which is kind of how sales is supposed to work. So the people that have really crushed it with client SEO are the people that learn how to do that properly.
Right. Okay, I got it. So to summarize what Chris said, guys, you will also be transparent to what you do as, and also you can just set up a method and also an approach, right? You can also build your profile and also share your expertise
Mhm.
and try to get as much more testimonials as well as case study, right?
Yeah, those work very, very well. People like to when they see that something has worked for whatever
Yeah.
reason, psychologically, people think, well, that will work for me too, which is often the case. It's not always, but that's a great approach as well.
Right. Right. I got it. So yeah. It's very great. So, is technical SEO is essential for you, Chris, or what are your important aspects of technical SEO?
So I guess I would say the most important things for the actual doing, fulfilling of SEO that a lot of people overlook is the fundamentals. Like
Yes.
you're on page, interlinking, all these things. For whatever reason, people think they know that stuff, and almost nobody does. Like
Yeah.
whenever I have someone that is an SEO ask me if to look at a site or something, it's almost always they haven't done their on page properly, and they think that they have because I don't know if they lit all the lights green in Yoast or and said that that was their on page or what, but most of the time that's what I see people overlook. And even when like we have students come in, they almost off not almost always, but often they skip over that that section altogether and don't even do it and just want to go fire links off, and which links are absolutely important no matter what some other people are going to tell you. But they think that that's all they have to do is just link, 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 link. And they skip over the fundamentals. So
Yeah, I agree with that one as well because a lot of people do off-page or link building, but they forget or overlook the fundamentals, right? So, guys, basics still works. So you can also just do the basics.
yeah.
Just do page or technical SEO without link building. You can still rank your website, right, Chris?
It's also a lot cheaper, right? Like it takes a lot less money and time to optimize a couple pages of content than
Yeah.
it does to go out and do outreach or PBNs or however you get your links.
Yes, I agree with that one as well. So I see you have a free SEO course. What's that called? The simple three SEO steps.
Oh, well, that's
The website
at
and all.
Superstar SEO Academy. There's a free like content on it, and then there's an advanced training that's paid as well.
All right.
I
So
think what you're thinking of is a webinar that we run to like promote it.
all right. So guys, I added the link on the screen. You can check that out. It's superstar SEO training. Is that right, Chris?
I
That
think so. I think that link will take you to the
yeah.
webinar. I'm not 100% sure.
Guys, very very basic, but it's very powerful. I tell you guys. So Chris, since we discussed on page, I'm very curious. What is your on page SEO process, by the way?
Well, I mean, there, again, fundamentals. You have to make sure you have keywords and H1s and all that stuff. I make sure that the content not just designed for the search engine. It
All
needs
right.
to take that into account, but it also needs to make sense because like it doesn't work the way it used to, where you could just stuff keywords in and things like that. So I do that. I have a tool of my own called audit.io, which will help with on page, and then Surfer SEO I use quite a bit to figure out the exact percentages and things like that. But essentially that's it. Then interlinking is super powerful. A lot of people overlook that, like linking where it matters, but then also not overthinking it, because like a common question when I say interlinking is how many should I have? What should the anchor text be? I was like, just where it makes sense, put a link to another page that it makes sense to link to. Don't do it just to do it. Do it when it makes sense to. So interlinking, fundamentals, and leveraging, but not relying on tools. So that you can succeed.
All right. So is keyword research still very important for you as well, aside from interlinking, right?
For me, I don't care about keyword research all that much because I just figure out what I want to rank for and I go for it. Like I'm confident enough that I don't need to look for long tail, low, high search, low competition stuff. I just go for the most difficult ones. Having said that, there are some things with keyword research that people don't do correctly. And one is that they look at numbers and don't use their brain. And what I mean by that is they don't, for example, I know someone that years ago ranked for the keyword gold, just the one
Wow.
word keyword gold. He made no money from it, even though it
Wow.
has, hundreds of thousands of searches. It's because anybody that searches gold is not anybody, but there's no intent to it. But if you were to get something like buy a gold IRA account today, that's a keyword that may not have any search volume and it's easy to pick off, but it has super high intent. So my point in that story is that you need to think about if it's a keyword that people actually are ready to buy with, because ultimately we can get proud of ourselves for getting these rankings and traffic and stuff, but who cares? Like, I don't know about you, but when I do it to make money, and money is made from people that are looking to spend money, and keywords relate back to that. So There are like research keywords, and then there's buyer intent keywords, and buyer intent keywords are much more important.
All right. All right. So since we're talking on page, do you normally also do off-page link building? If so, what is your off-page or link building strategy, by the way, Chris?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to be like somebody who's using that for shock value to like get views on his YouTube just to say that links don't work. I'm saying that my process is I build a big foundation. So I like to do branded social profiles, citations if it's a local site, foundation links that are branded, and maybe a handful of branded Web 2.0s to build up like a circle of trust around the homepage. And then for like say a city page, a service page, whatever, then we do something similar around that, but we use the keyword in those properties. And then once you build all that around it, do a domain authority stack and maybe a press release. By then, if you've done everything properly, you should be up to like page 2 or 3, depending on the keyword and things like that. And then you can do for your knockout, you can do your powerful links, your PBNs, your guest posts, and your niche edits.
All right. So social profiles, citations, press releases. So for all the list you mentioned, what is your favorite strategy among them, Chris, and why?
I mean, I use all of those things to create authority, trust, and relevance around the particular page that I'm trying to rank. So that's kind of like the process I put everything through. And then as far as like the finishing links, it just depends. Like certain niches, it's very hard to do outreach for because they won't take them. So if that's the case, we do PBNs. If not, then we'll do niche edits and guest posts. So
All right. So anyway, do you guarantee SEO rankings?
excuse me.
Do you guarantee SEO rankings or keywords rankings, traffic?
No, no, I don't, because I mean, yes and no. In the past, what I would say was, I guarantee you'll be page 1 after X number of months, and if not, I'll continue to work on it until you are. So that's kind of a guarantee. But no, I'm not going to say that I'm going to give you X, Y, and Z, and we'll. So yes and no. I guess the answer is yes and no, because I can guarantee it if they give enough time, but I'm not going to say in 3 months you'll be page X, because anybody that does that is being dishonest, in my opinion, because you just don't know. Like the process works, but it doesn't work the same every time. So
Yeah, got it. Yeah, I understand that because SEO has no guarantee, right? And
right.
proper SEO, however, will almost certainly increase traffic, and usually increase
Mhm.
traffic means increase customers and sales as well. But
Yes and
we
no.
uh, to let this know that it's very important to keep in mind that SEO is part of a larger or whole process, like web design, graphics, content offers, and more.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you have a crappy offer or a bad business, it doesn't matter how much traffic, whether it's SEO, whether it's ads, what social or whatever, you get to it. Like you have, I mentioned that recently about SEO itself not being a great offer. But if your product is no good, it doesn't matter how good your SEO is. So,
Correct. So a website is with excellent SEO, but low quality offers, images, and low value content offers will still fail, right?
for the most part, yeah. Now there are exceptions to that. If you do like local SEO and you do like Google Maps, a lot of the times those will get a call without someone going directly to the website. So that's a little different, but that's a whole other thing. So
Okay. Okay. Good. So since there's no guarantee in SEO, if ever someone asks for a refund, how will you handle it?
it's never happened.
It's never happened.
Um, uh, I don't know. Like, I don't think you get yourself into that situation if you talk to your client properly to begin with. Like, set the expectation that you are going to be here, here, and here after this amount of time, but it may take this amount of time. And a lot of that is done with the way you talk to your client, your prospect, your lead, whatever. If, I guess I don't have an answer for you because I've never got myself in that situation, because I set it up to where they know what to expect, trust me to be able to deliver what they expect. And if they do start to say, what is this? Why isn't this happening? I'd say, look, Bill, or whatever his name is, look back to when we talked about this, and that's why. So
Yeah.
no, I don't know. I've never been asked for one, and I don't anticipate ever being asked for one.
Yeah, actually, it happened to me, but one thing I do is to just refund him instantly because, yeah, that time we don't have a good communication because we have some issues with working with my team as well. So yeah, we have that kind of situation. But we have first thing first, before we start working with them, we right now we have an agreement. The client cannot cancel SEO services in the middle of the first month for that month's services. And right now we also added uh, website development sales are final, and or SEO are non-refundable for any reason. So we have that agreement as well that we added, so that it will not be happening uh, again. So yeah, I'm curious how you handle objections, by the way.
Well, I mean, it depends on the objection itself. You have to listen to the person. If their
Okay.
objection is warranted, then, put yourself in their position and try to resolve it for them the best that you can. If it's unwarranted, then you still have to handle it delicately. But wait, I guess it depends on, are we talking about in sales or with an existing client?
Yeah, let's say in sales. Let's say in
Okay,
sales.
that's different. I thought we were talking about like an existing client. So the objection, it depends on the objection, but if it's, I don't have the money, as
Yeah.
that's partly your fault for contacting someone like that to begin with. But when you do get to that point, you need to understand, you just listen to them and say, yeah, I hear you, but let me talk about this. Are you where you want to be? Are you making the money that you want to make? No. Well, then how do you ever plan to, and don't be condescending about it like this, but, and how do you ever plan to get to that level without investing back in your business? You've got a great product here, and we want to get that to the people that need it. So in order to do that, we need to invest a little bit. So I understand that it's hard to invest that money right now, but what we want to do is get you here. And that's just going to require a little bit of upfront investment. Sound good? Something like that.
Okay. So how about how you handle objection for if it's already your client?
Again, it depends on what the objection is, but I try to put myself in their position and see if I feel that it's a warranted objection or if it's not so warranted. If it is warranted, then, do what you can do to make it better. I try to be on top of things and anticipate that kind of problem before it happens. But if it does come up, then just do what you can do to help them. That's your obligation to them, to yourself, to everyone, to do that. If it's them being complicated, then then I lost my train of thought. If it's them being complicated, then you need to explain back to them that what we talked about and how that you're going to meet what we talked about, but what they're saying is kind of outside of what we agreed to. That makes sense.
All right. Okay. So for a startup and beginner in SEO, do you recommend them to start getting clients or learn SEO first?
That's a tricky question because like you definitely should not be selling something you don't know how to fulfill.
Correct.
But at the same time, you need to start making some money too. So I think that what I would do is start working on your own site and like get some experience doing that, and then maybe work with someone or a business or whatever, and then kind of build experience through that and maybe do it in exchange for some services or something. But if you're going to take a lot of money from someone, you have an obligation to them to not do something that's going to hurt their business. So I would not recommend selling something you have no clue how to fulfill. At the very least, get a partner that can fulfill it and make sure they know what they're doing as well. So
All right. So yeah, I see some question here regarding the PBNs. So do you still use PBNs, or does PBNs
not
work?
that often, but occasionally, if it's in a niche where I can't get any other kind of link building. I know that we've lost Mr. Facebook user here, and that's unfortunate, but the reality is that that's what works in a lot of cases, and that's your obligation, is to do what works. So
Okay. So guys, if you have questions, drop it below as I'm reading it all. Okay. So by the way, I'm curious about how you deliver SEO services. Are you doing it monthly, or do you provide graphs compared to month, or 3 months work, something like that?
again, it kind of depends. Some clients I've been with for so long that I don't really have to tell them anything unless there's something that they need to know specifically. Others, I give them a monthly I don't know what you call it. I guess just where the rankings are and then where they were the previous month. And then others, it's kind of in between. I kind of tailor that to each individual because some people need more information to feel like they're getting their money's worth. And some people would rather you leave them the hell alone and let them do what they do and let you do what you do. So it's probably not the perfect way to do it. I probably should have more of a standardized way, but that's what's worked for me. So,
Okay. So, what are your tips about managing clients' expectations, by the way?
I mean, again, it all starts with the initial onboarding and meeting, and even in the sales process is just be completely transparent about what you can do, what you can and can't do, what you are and are not going to do, when they can expect certain things and when they cannot expect certain things, and go from there. So if you're as transparent and honest about that and you remind them about that, if they seem to forget, then you bring them back and point out what we talked about. But as long as you are clear and transparent, you shouldn't have too many problems.
Yes, as well as set clear deliverables and always do communication, right? And
Yeah.
better to always sign a contract.
I don't really do contracts. I do month to month
Okay, month to month.
because that
So,
way I don't want somebody who doesn't want to work with me anymore to be stuck with me, although that's never come up. And conversely, if I don't want to work with someone anymore, I don't want to force them to pay me. I mean, I don't want to be forced to work with someone I don't like, because I don't know about you, but I got into this line of work to work for myself, and I don't want to be stuck doing things I don't like doing. So,
okay. So, how about your best SEO accomplishment? Maybe it's about the fastest keyword you rank or the hardest keyword you rank.
um, I don't know. I mean, I had a statewide real estate term in Texas. I don't really look at SEO in that way, but I did that for a while. We were ranking #1 for SEO marketplace. I think we're like #3 now. It fluctuates a lot. I don't know. I don't really think of it. I think if I had to put one thing that was my biggest accomplishment in this industry, it would be the number of people I've been able to help. So that's what's important to me more than anything.
All right. Chris, please tell us more about Superstar SEO Academy.
So it's basically, I think it's the most inexpensive for the most value that you're going to find as far as SEO training. It's just something I put out. We don't make much money off of it. I mean, $67 a month times divided by 4 coaches. Do the math on how many people it would take for us to make a lot of money off of it. But we have, I found the coaches that have a similar philosophy and approach to the way I do it, which is basics and fundamentals and not like sexy stuff. Like a lot of times when there's like a new algorithm, students will be like, what do you think of this new one? And we'll like not necessarily have an idea, because the way we do it is fundamentally sound and the way we teach it is fundamentally sound. So we don't get impacted. So ultimately we have it broken, for the time being anyway, we have it broken down to where there's like 4 career paths, for lack of a better term. There's like client SEO, which will teach this as far as the selling and the business management and that side, as well as, the ranking. And then there's affiliate SEO, which is like the keyword research and finding niches and products and things like that. And again, with the SEO. And then there's e-commerce SEO. My partner, Jeff, he, not partner, but the other coach, Jeff, he does e-commerce SEO. He's very, very successful with it. I think that's kind of what you do too, right? E-commerce SEO. And then we have a section for, what am I forgetting? For business owners. We found that we had a lot of people that own their own business and just wanted to do their own SEO for their own, brick and mortar or whatever business. So that's the other section. And then we have a community where we answer questions like within a few minutes usually. And then we do bi-weekly webinars as well. So.
All right. So yeah, I really like how you covered 4 focus areas in SEO and digital marketing, affiliate, small business owners, as well as e-commerce store owners. So yeah, everything is in there already, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been going for almost 3 years, which is a long time for a course, I think. So we're very proud of it. We've got a lot of success stories, and it's not like a big part of my business or anything, but I really very much enjoy it because I get to help a lot of people at what I find to be a very affordable price. So.
All right. So yeah, which SEO tools do you regularly use, by the way? Let's say in keyword research or on-page SEO.
On page, I have my own tool, audit.io. It's not as sophisticated as Surfer, so I use Surfer in conjunction with that. For backlink research, I use Ahrefs. I don't think that most of what Ahrefs does is great, but their backlink research is the best. I'm forgetting something. Oh, for keyword research, I mostly just use Google for that because it'll kind of tell you what it wants. But I also like to use BuzzSumo for that because BuzzSumo will give you great topic suggestions and not just keywords, but like article frame, for lack of a better term, to like what the title should be, what the content should be about, and how you can model successful content already. It's like the most underrated tool for SEO, in my opinion. It's also really expensive, unfortunately.
All right, all right, yeah. So for you, what is the best page speed, and why does it matter?
It doesn't matter that much. As far as page speed, I think what matters is turn the Wi-Fi off on your phone, put it on whatever 3G, 4G, whatever you have, open up the website, and if it runs well, then you're fine.
Yeah, in
That
regards to
said, I mean, you can always use GTmetrix or the Google Page Speed tool, whatever they call it now. I think they changed the name of it to make sure that there are no issues that you can tweak and make better. But page speed I think it's a bit overstated how important that is.
all right. So yeah, in terms of seconds, how many seconds do you recommend the website will load?
No idea. I don't know, as few as possible, but without being obsessive. Because like if you run one of those tools and then you see all the different things and you try to tweak some of them make no difference whatsoever.
Right.
So
Yeah, so a lot of people ask or said in groups or in Superstar group or the other groups that SEO is dead. So what can you say about it?
as long as there's one person that's doing something, it's never saturated, it's never dead. So when people say that, what they're really saying is they aren't good enough at it to continue to do it. So it's never dead. As long as there is a need for information, there's going to be a need to index it in a certain way that's easy for people to find, which is most likely going to be a search engine of some sort. And then there's always going to be a need to optimize it for that. Having said that, it's not necessarily the greatest approach. It's not necessarily the only approach to traffic, so it's not always the right approach to traffic, but it's not dead. Anybody that says that is reading too many blogs and needs to get back to work.
All right. So can you please share your was that your link building or the most important link building strategies?
The most important thing is to build as much relevance and trust from important properties like the main citations, the social profiles, kind of like I talked about before, and build trust and relevance that way. So when I say Web 2.0, people think that I mean I don't even know what tools people use anymore, Magic Submitter or something to like build thousands of them like used to work in 2013. It's not what I mean. I mean building branded relevant properties to increase trust and authority of the site. And then if you do that, the rest of the link building will be very minimal in most cases. In competitive niches, it's going to be different. But.
All right. So one last question for you, Chris.
Sure.
What is your advice for people who are struggling with client getting, either in SEO or any type of marketing?
Learn how to sell. If you're struggling with client getting, it means you don't know how to sell properly. You don't know how to prospect properly, and so on. You're probably just going out, finding the stuff on page 2 and sending them that same message that I said earlier. You know, I noticed that your website is ranking on page 2 and you don't know how to sell and you don't appreciate what it is that you're asking people for. So learn how to sell. Go take some sales classes, whether it's, the cotton candy version like Grant Cardone or something, or whether it's some decent sales classes, but learn how to sell. Learn how to talk to people and figure out what drives them, what pain they're in, what they need that they don't currently have. Then figure out a way to talk to them like a person, not like I almost said a bad word, not like you're reading from a script, and figure out what makes them tick and figure out what you can genuinely do to help them. If you start from a position of how can I help these people, then you'll be much more successful. So you don't want to go through the basic, I can get you ranked on page 2 of Google, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to be that guy. You want to, or page 1 of Google. If you want to talk to them and figure out what makes them tick, why they were willing to take your call, email, conversation in the first place. Find out about them, learn about them. It's like dating. You have to find out what you like, what that person is about, and then give them what they need. So it's that. So learn how to sell is probably why most people that want to do client SEO or whatever other type of client business is that they don't take the time to learn that. So, and if you're not comfortable with that, I mean, you're going to have to be, but the other option is to get someone that is. So.
All right. So before we end, Chris, what is the best way to reach out to you, or how can our viewers connect with you? You can also include your course or maybe upcoming events.
I mean, you can always check out you can always come find us on Legit. We'd love to have everybody there, but because I also sell on my own site. So there's that. The Superstar SEO Facebook group is, just you can search Superstar SEO, you'll find it. And then my YouTube channel is just chrismwalker.tv. And then you can always message me on Facebook too. I get a lot of messages, so if I don't reply right away, please be patient. But that's the other way. So
Yes. So, Chris, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And of course, for sharing your time with us. A lot of information, a lot of things to learn. And we really love it. So, guys, if you have, or if you had a great time with Chris, that was a great and very informative, right? So, yeah, I highly recommend you follow Chris' website at superstarseo.com and legit, legiit.com, or search Chris M. Walker on YouTube. Chris, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. So I hope
appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on. It was a good time. I'm glad we got to do this.
thank you. Thank you. Have
All
a
right.
great day.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.